Olá pessoal, boa noite, bem-vindos a mais um episódio da série do MyWay aqui da EFIG. É um prazer imenso ter vocês todos aqui assistindo esse webinar que vai ser muito bacana, eu acho que muitos de vocês já vem esperando isso por muito tempo. Nós temos aqui o nosso convidado que eu vou apresentar para vocês, mas eu só quero deixar falar algumas coisas antes. Como de costume, se vocês já têm as suas dúvidas, já vão digitando ali no chat box do Zoom, já podem abrir, já podem digitar as suas dúvidas, que no final nós vamos conversar com o Gearoid. Eu vou fazer as perguntas para vocês, não tem problema. Não deixe de acompanhar, amanhã a entrevista já vai estar online no YouTube, então não deixem de acessar também, se você tiver que sair ou se tem algum amigo seu interessado, tá bom? Bom, então hoje nós temos a presença do excelentíssimo aqui, que eu gosto muito, admiro muito ele como pessoa e como profissional, que é o Gearoid. Ele é coordenador da Faculdade de Medicina da UCC, University College Cork, na Irlanda. E ele vai falar com vocês aí sobre medicina no exterior, gente. Espero que vocês aproveitem muito, tá bom? Gearoid, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Good afternoon. Good night for me. So
yeah, so Gearoid is 4 hours, Gearoid?
4 hours, yeah.
Oh no. Okay, so he has already had his dinner, so hope you're okay.
I will try to keep my energy up, but
yeah, you will. Thank you very much for your time, Gearoid. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, you can go.
So, okay. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for signing in tonight, this afternoon, this evening to listen to me. So, as Diego said, I work at University College Cork, which is one of the national universities of Ireland. I am the international manager in the Faculty of Medicine and Health. So, any international activity around medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, all of those areas, I'm involved in that. And I'm here tonight to talk to you a little bit about studying medicine in Ireland, not just my university or my medical school, but in Ireland more generally. I'm sure that many of you don't know too much about Ireland. I expect you don't. I would be delighted if you do. But Ireland is a small country, and you know, sometimes people confuse us with the United Kingdom, and they don't have a lot of background. So hopefully after tonight's presentation, you will have a good idea. And can I please invite you to ask me lots of questions this evening. I'll try to keep my presentation as short as possible, just give you the important information, and then let's try to have a good discussion. I'm sure you guys have questions. You can ask me over your microphones, or if you're too shy, you can put it in the chat box, but be sure to think about questions as I speak, and we can talk about those after I finished with my presentation. So thank you again. So medicine in Ireland, and we'll take a little bit of a look at my university, University College Cork, as a kind of a case study, because this is the one, of course, that I'm most familiar with. But to be honest, all of the medical schools in Ireland are very good. They're all held to a really high standard. They're all very old, and they teach a very similar curriculum. So what happens at UCC is what you can expect in the other medical schools in Ireland as well. So I've introduced myself already. So just by way of introduction, Ireland. Now, I haven't put up maps or anything like that, so feel free to Google simultaneously and check out Google Maps to see where we're located. We're in Western Europe. We're an English-speaking country. Interestingly, we're now the only English-speaking country in the European Union because the United Kingdom has departed with Brexit. So it's kind of strange to us now that we're the only English-speaking country in the European Union. We're a small country, 5 million people. Our capital city is Dublin. The second largest city is Cork, my city. I'm calling you from beautiful Cork this evening. It's the second largest city. So we have been educating doctors in Ireland for hundreds of years. The first medical school in Ireland opened more than 300 years ago at Trinity College in Dublin. So we have a long, long, proud tradition of teaching medicine. Today, on this presentation, I'll start quite broad. I'll give you a little bit of information about Ireland, why study in Ireland. Then we'll talk about each of the medical schools in Ireland, talk about our specific medical curriculum, some of the entry requirements. I'll talk a little bit about our teaching hospitals and the internships or residencies or whatever you want to call them, and just about apply and what makes a good application for students who are thinking about coming to study medicine in Ireland. So Ireland genuinely is a very nice country. The people are very nice. I was on a conference call with somebody based in Brazil a few weeks ago, and they told me now that Ireland is becoming a very, very popular destination for Brazilian students to come and study language. So I was delighted to hear that, but I'm not surprised. There are lots of Brazilian people living here in Ireland. I think they make up one of the top 10 foreign national groups who live in Ireland. They've integrated really well. Lots of Brazilian men have married Irish women, and lots of Brazilian women have married Irish men. And there's a lot of mixing. They've got on very well. I think we're quite similar people. Irish people are very friendly. They're very welcoming. Ireland has a long tradition of immigration. So until about 50 or 60 years ago, many Irish people, when they graduated or when they left school, emigrated to work abroad, usually in the US or Canada or Australia or the UK, because our economy wasn't doing so well. Our economy and our society has now transformed in Ireland. We have now gone from being one of the poorest countries in Europe to being one of the wealthiest countries in Europe. And just to give you some context, like the average salary in Ireland is about 35% higher than it is in the UK. So the Irish economy now is doing really well. But because we've had such a strong tradition and heritage of immigration, we're very welcoming now of people who want to come into our country, because we know that feeling. Our grandparents, our parents, our cousins, many of them went abroad to look for work. So we would be hypocrites if we weren't welcoming of people coming in to live, to study, to work, to visit our country now. So if you do come to study in Ireland, you will be made to feel very welcome. Irish people love to have fun, they love to laugh, and they like to meet other people. They're very curious in that way. So when you come to study here, we have lots of international students in Ireland. We have about 40,000 currently international students coming every year to study in Ireland. It's a very, very popular destination. My university alone had about 4,000 students, international students, come on our campus last year from more than 100 different nationalities. So it's very cosmopolitan and it's very mixed. As I said, Ireland's economy is now transformed, so it's very innovative, it's very entrepreneurial, and it's a very creative culture. So all of our universities really pick up on this. There's cutting edge facilities, the teaching and learning is world class. And as a result, all of the big companies came in to invest in Ireland, especially the American companies. So to give you an example, there is more United States foreign direct investment in Ireland than Brazil, China, and India combined. So we're a small country of 5 million people, yet huge amount of investments. So that does give a lot of job opportunities to students who come and study here and graduate later. And we're a happy people. And I'm just proving it with this slide here. This was a recent study done by Study Portals, and they were looking at the happiness factor in different countries. And as you can see, people were most content in Ireland. And regularly in books like Lonely Planet or the Condé Nast Traveller magazine, Irish cities are always voted in the top 10 most friendly cities in the world. As you can see here, Cork, my city, Galway and Dublin, all were in the top 10 in 2018. So the point here is, if you come and study, you will be very welcome. So to talk a little bit about our medical schools, we have 6. All of them are very old. Trinity College in Dublin is the oldest. It has been teaching medicine for over 300 years. And the options at Trinity College in Dublin, you can do a 5-year program or a 6-year program. The 5-year program would be for students who are coming from specific high school programs. So for example, if you study the International Baccalaureate, the IB, or the A-levels, it may be possible that you can come directly into the 5-year program. If you're coming from a different program, a different high school certificate, then you may have to go into the 6-year program. In University College Cork, my university, we were set up as a university originally to teach medicine. And we've been teaching medicine since 1849. So over 170 years. And at University College Cork, we have 2 options. We have a 4-year medicine program and a 5-year. The 4-year program we call the Graduate Entry Medicine. And this is for students who already have a primary degree in another area. Now, this doesn't have to be a science-based degree, a life sciences degree. You could have a bachelor degree in music, and you would be open to apply for the 4-year program. And then again, the 5-year program is for students who come directly out of high school. Now, if you're not doing one of the high school certificates that is eligible for this, then you would go into our foundation program. So altogether, that would be 6 years. University College Dublin, slightly younger than University College Cork, but similar types of options, a 4-year program, a 5-year, and a 6-year. And by the way, all of these universities are government universities. So we don't have any private universities in Ireland, and all of them are held to a very, very high standard. So I think that's important to note, not just for medicine, but across all programs that you might want to study at the universities in Ireland. The other 3 universities, we have the University of Limerick. Now, this is our newest medical school. It started a graduate entry medicine program in 2007. And for this one, it's only for students who already have a primary degree in another area. The other 2 are the National University of Ireland in Galway, a similar age program to our one at UCC, and the Royal College of Surgeons of Ireland, who have been teaching since 1886. And the RCSI is quite well known internationally, I guess, because for a long time, they have been taking in international students into their programs. And in fact, at most of the programs at the Royal College of Surgeons, the classes would be majority international more than they would be Irish. So I think they have done a lot more promotion work abroad, so they would be well known. The other 5 universities all have caps in terms of the number of international students they can take into medicine every year. And that cap is approximately 25 to 30% of the class can be international. So that's actually quite a high number if you compare it to the United Kingdom, where the medical schools have a cap of 7.5%. So there can't be more than 7.5% international in any of the classes in the UK. So I guess we're a little bit luckier. We've worked with the Department of Health in Ireland, and we're able to take more students, more international students onto our programs than they could. So if we were to look at University College Cork, for example, every year we will take 80 students, international students, onto our medicine program. Approximately 40 of those will go into the 4-year program, and approximately 40 will go into the 5-year program. So it's very, very competitive, but there are good opportunities for good candidates and good quality students to get into those programs. Trinity and UCD are approximately the same numbers, the same with Galway, and the Royal College of Surgeons, like I said earlier, will have a slightly higher number that they can take in terms of international students. So we broadly divide our curriculum into 2 parts. So you will have your preclinical years and your clinical years. So typically for the first 2 or 3 years, depending if it's the 5 or the 6-year program, we would refer to as preclinical. And of course, at the start, you will be doing a lot of the sciences and a lot of the medicine-based sciences. So you'll be looking at anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, pharmacology. You'll be going into all of these immediately in your first year. And even though we call them preclinical, in fact, that's not entirely true. You do have clinical exposure even from your first year. So for example, at UCC, in your first year, you will have the opportunity to go out into doctors' surgeries. So in Ireland, we have what's called general practitioners, GPs, and these would be small family doctors who are located all around the countries, in the towns and the cities and the villages. And our students in first year already will go out to visit these GPs, and from a shadowing perspective, so you won't be involved in the dispensing advice or doing any clinical practice, but you'll be watching and you'll be learning. And for example, I speak with international students who do this, and depending on the GP office that you visit, the doctor may very much involve you and include you when they're meeting patients. So some of our students in their first year, for example, they will meet a patient who has chronic asthma or some other issue, and then they will follow that patient throughout the 4, the 5, or the 6 years of their study. And you will have a very in-depth knowledge of one patient and the progression or the regression of a disease or a problem or a health problem with that particular patient. If you ask me, how is Ireland different to any other country to study medicine? One of the things I'd say is that early clinical exposure. So in your first year, you will be visiting those GP offices. And then in your second year, you will be learning all of these clinical skills. And all of the medical schools in Ireland have 21st century, cutting edge, high-tech clinical skills, simulation labs and laboratories. So you will be learning the skills like taking blood, but you'll also be learning skills, professional skills like bedside manner. So we bring in actors, and you will be meeting with actors from your second year, and they will be very serious. They have a script that they must learn, and you will be engaging with them like they are real patients. And they will have learned a script about a particular problem they have. Maybe they will talk about they have problem breathing, they have a pain in their chest, and they know what to say, and then you have to try to diagnose what that issue is with them. Also in our simulation labs, we use mannequins. So we have really highly censored, high-tech dummies. And you will go into our simulation suites in small groups. It's always small group learning early on. We don't want to make you feel like you were alone and isolated. We work in small groups, and you will work in these suites on highly censored mannequins. Now, it looks like you're in a hospital ward. The only thing that is different is you will have a large mirror. And this is where your professors and your lecturers are on the other side, and they're monitoring how you interact and how you work on this mannequin. And in some instances, they have control of what happens. So there is a microphone in the mannequin. They will speak through the microphone, and you will have to respond as your group. So for example, you could be instructed to insert a feeding tube into the patient, but maybe you put it down the breathing pipe instead of the food pipe, and they will simulate a cardiac arrest in order to see, okay, let's see how they react under pressure. How will they do this? Of course, it's a mannequin, it's not a real human. So, but of course it's high pressure in one sense, but with no major consequences. And after you do this, we do a lot of reflective learning. So next to your simulated ward, you will have a debrief room. And all of you will go into that room afterwards with other students and with your professors, and you will discuss what happened. We won't talk about what you did wrong. We'll discuss about what you could have done better, or maybe what you did do really well. So it's very much that reflective learning piece, and that's really, really important. And all of the universities have that absolutely high-tech simulation labs to help you with that. And then you come into your clinical years, and you have what we call the white coat ceremony, or your clinical commencement ceremony. So now you will spend the majority of your time in our teaching hospitals. You will have your white coat, you will have your stethoscope. Now we want you to start acting and feeling like a real doctor. And now for the next 3 years, the majority of your time will be based in one of our teaching hospitals. And then we will circulate that, and you will have a lot of different exposures during that time. So this is just to give you an example of a 5-year program and what it looks like. And as I said earlier, the basic medical sciences at the beginning: anatomy, biochemistry, microbiology, physiology, pharmacology. Then there will be early clinical exposure. And of course, there is a strong research ethic associated with that. So a lot of our students will do research electives during their time of study. We will give you funding to attend conferences, to get involved in some piece of research, and to go and present on that research. And all of the Irish universities really encourage that, and they support it financially and do it really well, because all of our teaching staff are research active. So that is always going to be passed down to you as a student, and you will always be encouraged to support them and to go out and do your own research and present your research, not just in Ireland, but abroad. Go to the UK, go to the USA, go to mainland Europe and present there. So that's something that's really encouraged within the school. If you're talking about the entry requirements, then I guess the main things, of course, are your sciences. So if some of you today are high school students, I would advise you really focus on chemistry. All of the Irish medical schools really put important value on your chemistry result. So try to do as good as you can. Why are they so obsessed with chemistry? I think they feel that students who have a good aptitude for chemistry generally are students who can do quite well on the programs. So really take care of your chemistry. And then they also expect you to have subjects like biology, physics, and mathematics. Now you don't need to have all 3 of those, you just need to have 2 out of those 3. So for example, if you have chemistry, biology, and mathematics, that's good enough. Now I think a really piece of good news for prospective international medical students is that you don't need to do an aptitude test. Aptitude tests are horrible. Unfortunately, the Irish students, they need to do an aptitude test. Why? Because there are thousands and thousands of applications, and we couldn't interview everybody face to face, so we need to ask them all to do an aptitude test. However, for international students, we do it by face-to-face interview. That is so much easier. than if you have to do the aptitude test. In Ireland, we require the students to do the HPAT, the Health Professionals Aptitude Test. But for you, if you're shortlisted for interview, it will be a face-to-face interview. Similar to the UK, but a lot of the UK med schools will require an interview and an aptitude test, like the UK CAT or the BMAT or one of those. In Ireland, we only require the interview from you. And our interviews are quite informal, quite personalized. So again, with a lot of the UK med schools, you will need to do pre-reading. So you may be given a journal article, a piece from the Lancet journal to read beforehand. And then in the interview, you will be interrogated on that. You also will be asked to do multiple mini interviews, the MMI. But again, in Ireland, it's a personalized interview. Once we see your university or your high school transcripts and your grades, then we are happy enough that we know academically you are strong. Now what we really want to know is your character. So that's why the interview is quite personalized. We want students who are a good fit in our class. We create a certain culture and environment within our classroom, and we want to make sure that the students we're bringing into that environment are a good match with their classmates. Because all it takes is one student who maybe has a bad attitude to create a bad effect on that. So we are really looking at the personality of the student, the character of the student, but also their ability for things like to think critically, problem solving, what is your bedside manner, what is your empathy like, and we're exploring those things in the interview. But you don't really need to prepare anything. We want to see you in your real form as a real human like you are. So when you're making the application, we'll also want to see a personal statement. And the personal statement is very important because what you say in that personal statement, and we read them very carefully, will form part of your interview. So if you talk about some volunteering work that you did in Brazil or maybe somewhere else or Africa or something, then we'll want to know about that. Tell us more about that. How did it make you feel? Why did you decide to do it? So make sure when you're writing your personal statement as part of your application, and the personal statement is generally between 500 and 1,000 words, we will want to know the real you. And part of what you say in that, we will be using in the interview. Of course, getting references from your teachers or professors or other people of high standing will be really important. So for example, if you're applying from high school, it would be great if you got a reference from your chemistry teacher and perhaps your guidance counselor, your career guidance teacher, something like that, to talk about you and your academic ability and your character. And of course, if you've done interesting things in your life, if you've done charity work, if you've traveled a lot, if you've set up your own company, if you've designed an app for a phone, whatever it is, make sure to include all of that in your resume because we'll be really interested to hear about that. So these are just examples of some of our teaching hospitals. Down on the bottom right-hand side is Cork University Hospital. So this is the teaching hospital for my university. And in fact, it is the largest health campus in the country. On the bottom on the left is the new children's hospital in Dublin, which is being built. And interestingly enough, I think it is going to be, when it is finished, it is going to be one of the top 10 most expensive buildings ever built in the world. So that will give you some idea about the level of technology and the level of advancement that is being put into that hospital. So this is just to give you an idea of what happens with some of those teaching hospitals. So as I said, in years 3, 4, and 5, you will spend a lot of your time in these hospitals, traveling from hospital to hospital, doing different rotations. Now, when you finish your medical degree, you're not a doctor yet. Now you need to do an internship, or it depends on the country. In Ireland, we call them internships. In some countries, they call them fellowships. I think in the US, they call them residencies. So it depends, but it's all the same thing. And in Ireland, the internship is 1 year. So what happens is you do 4 rotations. So 2 of the rotations you must do, and 2 of them you choose. So for example, you must do 3 months of general medicine, you must do 3 months of general surgery, and then the other 2, 3 months and 3 months, you can choose. You can choose to do additional surgery if you feel that's the area you want to go into. You could choose pediatrics, psychiatry, oncology, cardiology. You have plenty of options there. And then once you complete that 12 months of internship successfully, you will get your certificate of excellence. And now you are a doctor. Many of our international students leave when they finish their medicine degree and they go to do their internship overseas. Some will stay. So we welcome you to stay, but some will want to leave also. So for many years now, we have had lots of Canadian students, American students, and Singaporean students who come to Ireland to study medicine. In fact, I heard that Ireland is the most popular destination for Canadian students to study medicine outside of Canada. So we have a very strong reputation in North America of training high quality medics. We also have a lot of students from Malaysia. About 10% of doctors in Malaysia were educated and trained in Ireland. So once you finish your degree, you can stay in Ireland and do your internship with our, what we call HSC, our Health Service Executive, or you can apply to go to do the UK Foundation Program, and many of our students do that. You can do the United States medical licensing exams and go there, or you can do the CARMS to go to Canada. Now, if I was to speak a little bit about the USMLE, Ireland has a very, very good record of students successfully doing their medical degree in Ireland and then doing a match with the United States medical licensing exam to do their residency in the USA. At UCC, my university, our matching rate for the USMLE is about 90%, and for the Canadian, it's about 94%. So we have a really good record of our students, and our Irish students also apply, successfully going to Canada and the USA to do their residencies or fellowships and to become doctors there and go on to specialize. So if you come to study in Ireland, you can stay, or you also have very good opportunities to go abroad. And for example, with the USMLEs, there are 3 steps. The first step you will start in your 3rd year, and it's the most important one, and quite often it's the most difficult step to pass. So at all of the medical schools in Ireland, we spend a lot of time coaching you and preparing you to do the USMLE exams. We will do simulated exams, and we will continue to do simulated exams until we feel that the student is ready to do the real one. And as a result, our pass rate is 90% plus. And the reason we want to keep it very high, for example, at UCC, is because if our pass rate drops below 75%, we're not allowed to host the USMLE exams, and we don't want that. And also, if you fail the USMLE first step at your first attempt, unfortunately, there are certain states in America where even if you do it a second time and you are successful, you will not be able to successfully register in those states. For example, I think New York State, they will only look at your first attempt. If you pass it the second time, that doesn't matter to them. So we don't want you to be in that position. So there are some really good pathways to stay in Ireland or to go out of Ireland. Now, sometimes students ask me, am I guaranteed an internship in Ireland if I'm an international student? And I have to be honest and say, I would never use the word guarantee. You have a very good chance, but I could never say guarantee. I'm sure no country can say they guarantee. But the good news is it is improving. So about 3 years ago, it was a little bit more competitive for international students to get the internship in Ireland because Irish students were given priority. And that is because of European Union directives and our health service executive directives, because they pay for the internships and the universities have no control over that. However, for example, this year, all graduates from Irish medical schools are guaranteed an internship. If you're Irish, no matter what country you're from, you're guaranteed an internship if you successfully pass your exams. A lot of that has to do with the demand and the situation with COVID-19. But our Prime Minister, who was also a qualified doctor, he spoke at our recent virtual graduation for our medicine students at UCC. And during his speech, he said, we guarantee all students an internship this year. And going forward, we want to make sure that more international students are successful. So you do have a good chance. So last year, for example, 35 international students from UCC applied for an internship in Ireland, and 33 of them got offered it. So only 2 students did not get offered an internship. And I guess that's probably because their results and they finished in the bottom, quarter of the class. So if you can finish in the top half of the class, you have a great chance to get an internship. So sorry to talk so long about internships, but I think it's very important. I've already spoken to you about what makes a good application. So your personal statement, really important. Be natural and be human for your interview. They want to see that you're human. Don't try to act like you are infallible, indestructible, that you are perfect in every single way. No human is like that. If they ask you about why a career in medicine, don't be afraid to say, actually, I'm really frightened about the prospect of this career and this journey, but it's something that I'm willing to do. And that's fine. That doesn't show weakness on your side. That shows humanity. And that's what they want to see. And of course, I spoke already about the letters of reference and your resume CV. So that really is a broad introduction to studying medicine in Ireland. Obrigado. And here are my contact details. So now I think it's better to hand over to you guys, and I hope you have questions for me, please, and try my best to answer them for you. So again, thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Gearoid. It was an amazing presentation. I do have quite a few questions right now, but I just want to say some people just wrote me that they are very impressive how you guys work with the medicine programs and how the medicine work in Ireland, because they said it shows a lot of humanity, and that's what we need right now. And they are very impressive and they're very happy, very motivated. So thank you very much.
No problem.
So
I can stop the screen share there just in case anybody wants to.
Okay, so we got a question here. It says about the Brazilian interest. So I think you have already said. So talk about, I think, the foundation. So if they shouldn't got IB, so you're going to talk that, but talking about the IB, or if they shouldn't got the Brazilian diploma of ensino médio, they had to do the foundation, right?
Yes, they can do the foundation program. So for example, for UCC, you would come into our foundation program, which is a 1-year medical sciences foundation program, and then successfully exit that program with the required grades in chemistry, in English for academic purposes, in mathematics and biology, then you will you will be guaranteed your place in first year of our 5-year program.
Oh, ok, I see. Just one second. Gente, quem tem perguntas, que não fez pergunta durante a apresentação, pode fazer a pergunta agora que eu vou lendo aqui para ele, tá bom? It's a question about Cork. It is Cork a student city?
Yes, yeah, it's a great city. So I'm biased, I'm from Cork. So Cork, so you have to remember, Brazil is very big, it has a very big population. We're very small by comparison to you guys. We have 5 million people total in the country. Cork City is the second largest city, and by large, I mean 250,000 people. So it doesn't feel too small. International students who come from big cities all over the world say, oh, I expected Cork to feel very small, but in fact it feels quite large. And it does. And it's very international, it's very cosmopolitan, but it's also a student city. So we have 50,000 students in Cork City, 22,000 at my university. We also have Cork Institute of Technology, about 15,000 students, and we have some private colleges also. So 1 in 5 people walking around Cork City is a student. And you really feel it because the energy in the city is really good. It's a really young population. In fact, Ireland has the youngest average age population in all of Europe. Lots of young people come to live and work here. Remember, Ireland is really cool right now. It's where all the big tech companies have their European headquarters. Facebook, Google, Twitter, eBay, Amazon, Intel, Dell, Apple. You know, Apple has its European headquarters here in Cork. Blizzard Entertainment. So we've lots of pharma, we've lots of ICT, lots of people, young people come from all over the world. So we've lots of cafes, music, art galleries, bars, clubs. So whatever you want, it's here in Cork.
That's good. And they should go to an Irish pub. It's amazing. I have been there. So very nice.
And they're very, you've Irish pubs all around the world, but they're not exactly the same as a real.
They are not. They are not. So you told us a little bit about the internship and how the students can do work placement after the university. But if, for example, a question here, after my bachelor, what should I do? Work? What are the options? Work or do research? What the student can do when they finish the bachelor, when they finish the internship and become a doctor?
Yeah, so when they finish the bachelor, they're not finished. They have to keep studying. Yeah. And by the way, something I didn't mention, the qualification that you get from an Irish medical school is quite unique. So for example, in the UK, once you graduate with a medical degree, it's called the MBBS. But in Ireland, we call it MB, BCH, BAO. So that's MB, Bachelor of Medicine, BCH, Bachelor of Surgery, and BAO, a Bachelor in the Art of Obstetrics. So it's a really ancient qualification. To all intents and purposes, it's the same as an MBBS. All it is you will have more letters after your name. So your business card will look more impressive than somebody who has only MBBS. But it's because in Ireland about 200 years ago, you needed to have a bachelor's degree in obstetrics in order to successfully graduate as a doctor. And we've kept that qualification for over 200 years now. So that's quite good. So yes, so you study and then you do your internship. And of course, for many doctors, the journey is not finished. So then you will go on to do specialization. If you have done your bachelor degree and your internship in Ireland, and you want to go on to specialize in surgery or cardiology or oncology or whatever area that is, I would probably advise you to leave Ireland. Not because it's bad, but because it's important that you get different experiences. So all of our doctors who graduate here will go to the USA, they'll go to the UK, they'll go to Australia just to get some additional experience in a different setting and in a different culture. Of course, if you want to stay, you're very welcome. And our specialization training happens through the RCPI, the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland. And they are the central unit that manage all of our specializations in those areas that I spoke about. So yes, you would then register with the RCPI, and then you would be affiliated to a hospital through them to continue with your specialization in whatever area you want. And these specializations can take anything from 4 years up to 10 years. But at the end of your specialization, you will be a consultant and you will be making lots of money. And you will drive a Ferrari and you will be able to go away in the afternoon to play golf. So, of course, many people aspire to this level when you become so qualified. You work hard, but you also have a lot of time to yourself also.
That's good. I have a question here. Pedro, he's asking about the cost of living in Ireland, but I think you can mention the difference between Dublin and Cork, because Cork is an amazing city. So he's asking about the cost of living.
Yeah, so the cost of living in Ireland is reasonably expensive. I can't compare it to Brazil. I am so disappointed. As you know, Diego, I was supposed to visit Brazil last month, and COVID-19 took away the first opportunity for me to visit Brazil. So that was extremely disappointing. So I can't compare cost of living. But Ireland is, like, Europe seems expensive. Certain things are expensive. Accommodation can be kind of expensive. But really, when it comes to food and shopping and stuff like that, no, Ireland is actually very cheap. We have supermarkets that are very cheap as any other country in the world, but good quality produce. Cork is a smaller city than Dublin, the capital city. So of course, it's going to be cheaper in Cork. So I tell students before they come, they should budget and expect to spend approximately between 800 and 1,000 euros per month. So you can do the calculation there and to your currency. Maybe some students can survive for less than that. Maybe some will spend more. It really depends on your taste and your lifestyle. But, you know, the apartments would, your accommodation would approximately be anything from 350 euros per month up to 500 or 600 euros per month. Well, 550 euros per month. 350 if you were planning to share a house with some other students, and maybe you have your own bedroom and you share a house with them. UCC, like all of the universities, has dedicated student apartment complexes, and they're a little bit more expensive because it has 24-hour security. Not that you need it. The security guards are to stop students having parties, not because there is any real danger. No, they're very safe. So yeah, it depends. So for example, for the medicine students, usually they come in their first year, they will live on campus accommodation, which is like apartment living. You have your own private bedroom, your own private bathroom, and then you share kitchen and living room facilities with maybe 4 other students. And then in your second year with your new friends, you might decide, let's rent a house together as a group near the hospital or something like that. And that's going to be cheaper. And by the way, Cork is a walking city. So I showed you some of the teaching hospitals from Cork earlier. All of them are walking distance from the university. And we have dedicated accommodation for medicine students, which is 2 minutes from the university. So everything's really convenient. You can leave your apartment at 2 minutes to 9 in the morning, and you can be sitting comfortably in your lecture theatre before the professor arrives. And you can walk in 5 or 10 minutes to the teaching hospitals. The city centre is 10 or 15 minutes walk. So it's all very convenient, and that frees up a lot of time for you to go and do other things. So we really encourage our students to get involved in clubs and societies. And all of our universities have hundreds of clubs and societies. especially UCC. I think I heard that we have the biggest number of clubs and societies of any university, but whatever sport you're into, or if you're into politics or the environment or debating or philosophy, or if you're into Harry Potter, we have a fantastic Harry Potter society at UCC. There are thousands of members because our university looks like Hogwarts.
I know, I'm so jealous.
You really feel like you're living and studying in a place like Hogwarts. So lots of opportunities there for students.
Yeah, and as you said, the apartment, the rental per month, like €300. If you go to Dublin, it's impossible to find our own bedroom in one house in the city with this price, right?
It can be tricky. You need to be careful. I don't want to be saying anything too bad about Dublin. Dublin's a great place, but you do hear about there being a lot of pressure for students and they find it difficult to find a place to live. Now it's competitive in Cork also, but we will guarantee accommodation for our medicine students. We try for most of our international students to make sure that everyone absolutely finds a place to stay. Nobody will be homeless.
Great. So I have this question and I want to share the answer with you because it's about the Revalida that we talked about before. So when I finish my degree in Ireland and finish my internship, can I go to work in Brazil or do I need to do something? What do I need to do? So you can talk a little bit more and then I complete.
Well, I think it's better if you speak about the Revalida because you're much more aware about what that process is exactly. So I'll hand the microphone to you for this one.
But as you said before, Irish universities, they got this accreditation on the word.
Yes,
so that's what I want to say.
That's a good point. So all of the Irish medical schools, our curriculum is governed by the World Federation for Medical Education. So this is the global accreditation body that looks at the medical curriculum of medical schools around the world. And all of our medical schools are accredited by this. So our medical degrees are transferable everywhere in the world.
Yeah. And por isso, Raíra, você pode voltar para o Brasil, você tem que fazer uma prova que se chama Revalida. E ali você vai ter a sua oportunidade ali de poder trabalhar no Brasil, tá bom? É uma prova que se chama Revalida, você pode pesquisar no Google, mas não tenho dúvidas que você fazendo medicina na UCC, você vai ter algum problema quando voltar, porque como ele disse, a UCC ela tem essa acreditação. Okay, I think we got just one last question about, you said about the internships that the students can, when they finish, they complete the degree, they can go to US. So, as you said, after you complete UCC and pass the exam on US, the student have to do the medical school or they can go straight away to work. How is going to work that?
So, well, they will go to the USA and they will do their residency, which is basically the same as the internship that you would.
Okay.
So then after you successfully complete the residency in the USA, now you are a qualified doctor. So if you want to start working immediately, you would go into the hospital and you would be a JHO, a junior house officer, and then you could work your way up through the ranks. Or you could decide to go on and continue studying and do some specialization. But once you complete the residency in the USA, you can now go on and work officially in the United States.
Okay, great. And talking about the UCC, UCC is more research universities or industrial universities? Mariana is asking that.
We're a research-led university. Now we have very, very strong industry partners. So I talked about IT and I talked about Apple and Facebook and all of these guys. In Cork, for example, Cork is one of the most important pharmaceutical hubs in Europe. So 9 out of the 10 top biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world have a major base here in Cork. Pfizer, Novartis, GlaxoSmithKline, all of the big international players are here. So our university has very strong links with these guys, and we do a lot of applied research with them. So that brings a lot of funding to the university, and it also helps ranking. So like our School of Finance is ranked top 50 in the world because we have really strong research going on, some of it independent, but a lot of it in conjunction with these big companies. So all of our professors must be research active, and you know, you cannot get promotion, you cannot get a job at UCC unless you have a strong record of publications and research active publications in the really good journals. So it's a research-led university, absolutely. UCC actually has the highest amount of money that it brings in from research income of any university in Ireland. We also do research not affiliated with a company or where we're generating research income. We're doing research for research's sake. So there is a mix of both of them there. So all of the lectures are research active, like I said. And of course, in the classroom, you really get these research skills because they're passed down in the classroom to students. And like I said, for a medicine degree, we would encourage you to do a research project, maybe in your 3rd year or your 4th year, and go overseas to present at a conference, and we would support you and work with you to help you do that.
Okay, great. That's fantastic. That's good to know, because I think that's a great opportunity, because again, it builds you as a person, a humanity, and that's what you guys do, and that is very impressive. I have another question here, Pedro. He's asking about if you considered Brazil a good international medical school, if you have heard anything about medical schools in Brazil.
I don't.
Okay.
I missed my opportunity to visit some of the medical schools there. We had, like, all I know is that the quality of students in Brazil is really good. And I know that you take education very seriously. I don't know if that is reflected in all of the universities. I'm not that familiar. I know when Brazil had the Science Without Borders program, we had lots and lots of Brazilian students who came to UCC and to Ireland to study in science programs, and they were so successful. So I certainly know that Brazilian students who come to study at UCC always they're high achievers and they're top of the class type of people. So I guess they must be good students. You know, if they come into a master's degree, they obviously have a good foundation from their bachelor degree in Brazil. So I guess I don't, but the answer is I don't know too much about medical schools in Brazil.
That's okay. And I promise you, Gearoid, when you come to Brazil, we try to go to 2 big universities here for you to visit the medical school.
Super. And I hope soon.
So guys, any more questions? Alguém quer perguntar mais alguma coisa? I think that's it, Gearoid. I will let you go.
Good evening. I just thank you the opportunity to watch. It was amazing. I love it. And nice.
Obrigado. Thank you. Thank you for staying. I noticed.
I'm not academic. I'm not a student of medicine, but I'm just here to observe and watch it. Everything, it was perfect. Thank you.
That's great.
Great. That's Cassandra. Cassandra is one of the educators that Fiji took it to Ireland in January to visit the education in Ireland and all the universities that we visit. So she was with us.
Oh, great. And I didn't meet you when you came to Cork, but you met with my colleague, Michael, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think I did. I did, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Cleona, you know Cleona from UCC also. So yeah, pity I didn't meet you guys that time, but.
I'm sorry for the webcam. It's not working my cam now.
Oh, no problem.
No problem.
Thank you.
So I'll let you go, Gearoid, because now it's already 11 p.m. for you, so you have to sleep because I think you have a busy day tomorrow.
Yeah, it's the weather has been fantastic here in Ireland. I think I'm a little bit sunburned today because I worked in the I did some work with my laptop in the garden, but it was quite warm. So
I can talk about for all of us here, all of Brazilians, we are so jealous because Brazil right now, it's so cold.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. But like
Yes,
cold for us is 15 degrees. So that's
okay. Well, today was 22 degrees Celsius in Cork, and for us, that is a beautiful day.
That's good. Good to know. So thank you very much, Gearoid.
No problem. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time to dial in and listen. And any more questions, please contact me or Diego. And yeah, I look forward to welcome you. I hope some of you to Ireland in the near future. So everybody, of course, these are difficult times. I know Brazil, you know, Ireland, in terms of COVID-19, it was quite serious about 1 month ago. And we've passed that really, you know, the peak, and it's going down the other side. So I know Brazil, it's a challenge for you there at the moment. So I wish everybody to stay safe and stay well. And, you know, you will come out of the other side of this quite soon, you know, and everybody take care. So
hopefully we can get together very soon.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
To everybody, bye-bye. Bye.
Gente, muito obrigado pela presença de vocês hoje. Foi muito bacana a gente conhecer aí o sistema de medicina na Irlanda. Muito bacana. Vocês viram que vocês têm muitas oportunidades. Quero convidar vocês já para o webinar da semana que vem, que vai ser com a Laura. E ela é do Admission das universidades alemãs. Então, para vocês que têm a curiosidade como funcionam as universidades na Alemanha, venham acompanhar. Garanto para vocês que a tuition na Alemanha, já vou agilizar aqui para vocês, mais ou menos 150 euros por semestre. Então é muito barato, gente, estudar na Alemanha. Então convido vocês para participar do webinar na semana que vem, no próximo episódio, às 6 horas, tá bom? Muito obrigado e boa noite.